The voicemail came back online at 2:17 a.m. That alone shouldn't have been possible. The server that once held it had been wiped 3 years ago under a federal data purge tied to a classified internal review. No mirrors, no cloud recovery, no paper trail. The kind of deletion meant to erase not just data, but memory, yet the notification appeared anyway. Unknown caller. 47 seconds. Timestamp. The same night the Morrison case collapsed. The same night an entire investigation simply stopped. I didn't play it right away. That hesitation still sits heavy in my chest, because the moment I pressed play, the room felt different. The air tightened, like pressure building before a storm. The desk lamp flickered once, just once, enough to notice, not enough to explain. Then the voice came through, low, uneven, breathing too close to the microphone. "I know you said not to call again," the voice whispered, barely louder than static. "But they're not gone. They never were." The message ended there. No click, no disconnect tone, just silence. The Morrison case was supposed to be dead, not unsolved, not cold, dead. Officially, it was a missing persons investigation involving a family of 4 who vanished during a road trip through northern Nevada. A wrong turn, a bad map. Desert eats people all the time. Unofficially, it destroyed careers. Every agent assigned to it left within months. 1 transferred overseas without explanation. 2 retired before they were eligible. 1, Agent Keller, spiraled into alcoholism and disappeared off the grid entirely. Last known location, a trailer outside Boise. No follow-up. No one talked about it anymore. Except now, someone was calling again. The previous video ended on a detail that never sat right with me. The motel footage. Security cameras don't just fail selectively. Not every angle. Not every night. Not without leaving something behind. But the footage from the Silver Pike Motel wasn't missing. It had been replaced. I pulled the physical file from deep storage the next morning. Dust coated the box like a warning. Inside were crime scene photos I didn't remember authorizing. Images taken from angles that didn't match the floor plan. Hallways that felt longer than they should have been. Doors that appeared where no doors were supposed to exist. One photo stopped me cold. Room 27. The door was open. It shouldn't have been. Every report stated the door was found locked from the inside. The timestamp on the photo said otherwise. I checked the metadata twice. Same result. Someone had altered the narrative before it ever reached us. As I flipped deeper into the file, inconsistencies began stacking up. Witness statements contradicted each other in subtle ways. A motel clerk described hearing footsteps above him on a single-story building. A trucker claimed he saw lights flickering in rooms that were officially vacant. A 911 call mentioned a child crying from inside the walls. That call had been labeled audio corruption. I played it anyway. At first it was just breathing, then wind, then something else. A child's voice. Calm. Too calm. They told us not to open the door. The call cut out immediately after. That night, as I drove home, I noticed a car following me. Black sedan. No plates visible, stayed 3 car lengths back, never passed, never fell behind. When I pulled into my driveway, it kept going. I told myself it was coincidence. I didn't believe it. At 1:09 a.m., my phone vibrated again. No caller ID. This time I answered. There was no greeting, just a soft, deliberate sentence spoken directly into my ear. "You weren't supposed to find the photos." Then the line went dead. I sat there, phone still pressed to my ear, heart hammering, realizing something I hadn't allowed myself to think before. The Morrison family didn't disappear. They were removed. And whoever did it just noticed I was looking again. Behind me, the desk lamp flickered, twice. Then my computer screen turned on by itself. A single file opened automatically. No name, no extension. Just one frame of grainy motel footage. Room 27, the door slowly opening from the inside, and a shadow standing where no one should have been. Watching the camera. Watching me. And then the footage froze. The file vanished the moment I tried to copy it. No error message, no warning. 1 second it was there, the next it wasn't. Like it had never existed at all. The computer returned to my desktop background, clean and empty, mocking me with its normalcy. I didn't sleep. By morning, I had printed everything I could from the Morrison file and spread it across the kitchen table. Photos, transcripts, handwritten notes from agents who no longer worked for the Bureau. The patterns were subtle, but once you saw them, they refused to let go. Every witness remembered the same phrase, not word for word, not consciously, but threaded through their statements like a bruise under skin. They told us not to open the door. The motel clerk, the trucker, the 911 caller. Even Agent Keller had scribbled it in the margins of his notebook, circled 3 times so hard the paper tore. Keller was the key. Officially, he resigned after a mental health evaluation deemed him unfit for continued field duty. Unofficially, he'd been asking questions no one wanted answered, about missing evidence, about altered timestamps, about why the Morrison kids' dental records didn't match the teeth recovered near the desert wash 50 miles south. Teeth with no matching skulls. I tracked Keller the old-fashioned way. Paper records, utility bills, a half-forgotten storage unit outside Boise that was still being paid for in cash. Inside, I found boxes stacked with VHS tapes, cassette recordings, and motel brochures collected from across 6 states. Every brochure had rooms circled in red ink, always the same number. One tape was labeled in shaky handwriting, "Don't listen alone." I listened anyway. The tape began with silence, long enough to question whether it was blank. Then Keller's voice came through, thin and tired. "They don't move like people," he said. "They wait. They let you notice them." There was a pause, a deep breath. "I think the rooms are wrong. I think they're bigger inside." Something shifted in the background of the recording. A low sound, like air moving through a narrow space. Keller stopped speaking, then another voice whispered, distant but clear, "Don't open it." The tape ended in a violent burst of static. That afternoon, a report crossed my desk that hadn't gone through normal channels. A missing persons case from Utah. Family of 3. Last seen at a roadside motel off Interstate 80. The clerk noted strange behavior. The door was locked from the inside. Room 27, I called the local sheriff listed on the report. He sounded exhausted. Said this wasn't the first time he'd seen something like this. Said the FBI had already called once that morning and told him to stop asking questions. When I asked who from the FBI, he hesitated. "Didn't give a name," he said. "But they knew details that weren't in my report." That night, I drove. The motel sat under buzzing sodium lights, its sign missing 3 letters, so it read like a warning instead of a name. The clerk recognized me instantly, even though I'd never been there before. "You shouldn't be here," he said. I asked him about room 27, his face drained of color. "No one stays there," he whispered, "not twice." I stood in the hallway alone, staring at the door. It was slightly open. Just enough. From inside, I heard breathing. Slow, patient, as if something on the other side already knew my name. And that was when my phone vibrated in my pocket. A text message, no number. "You're standing where Keller stood. Don't open it. Because this time, something knocks back." The knock didn't come from inside the room, it came from behind me, soft, deliberate, knuckles against cheap motel wood. I didn't turn around. Every instinct screamed that if I looked, something irreversible would happen. The hallway lights flickered once, then steadied, humming like they were struggling to stay awake. My phone vibrated again. Same blank sender. It knows you're there because you already opened it once. I hadn't. At least, I didn't remember doing that. The door to room 27 creaked wider on its own. No hand, no push. Just a slow surrender, like the room was breathing me in. The air inside was wrong. Cooler than the hallway, heavier, carrying the smell of old carpet and something metallic beneath it. Blood, maybe. Or something that wanted to be. I stepped inside before I could talk myself out of it. The door shut behind me. The sound was final. The room looked normal at first glance. 2 beds, nightstand, TV bolted to the wall. But the longer I stood there, the more the geometry felt off. The far wall seemed too distant, the ceiling too high, shadows pooled in corners where light should have reached. On the dresser sat a manila envelope. My name was written on it. In Keller's handwriting, Inside were photos I didn't recognize, but felt connected to. A younger me standing outside a motel in Nevada. Me talking to Keller in a diner I'd never been to. Me asleep in a chair, mouth open, recorder running. I flipped to the last photo. It showed me opening a door. Room 27. The timestamp was dated 3 years ago. My pulse roared in my ears. Memory tried to surface. Headaches, lost weeks, reports I didn't remember filing, sudden promotions, sudden silences. A sound came from the bathroom. Water dripping. I didn't want to look. I did anyway. The mirror over the sink was fogged, as if someone had just showered. A handprint slowly appeared on the glass from the other side. Then another. Then a face pressed forward, distorting the reflection. But it wasn't mine. It looked like me, only stretched. Eyes set too far apart. Mouth opening the wrong way, as if learning how. The reflection spoke without sound. Lips forming words I felt more than heard. "You keep leaving pieces behind." The lights went out. In the dark, something moved closer, not footsteps. A sliding sensation, like skin against carpet. I fumbled for my phone. It turned on by itself. A video began to play. It was Keller, older than on the tape, bruised, terrified. "If you're watching this," he said, "it means they reset you again." He swallowed hard. "You volunteered. We all did. The rooms don't hunt randomly. They only open for people who already know them." Something brushed my leg. Keller continued, voice shaking. "They don't kill you. They copy you, and what leaves the room isn't always the one that went in." The lights snapped back on. I was alone. The bathroom mirror was clean, but the door to room 27 was open again, and this time, I could see another hallway beyond it, longer, darker, filled with doors that all had the same number. From somewhere far down that impossible corridor, a familiar voice called out. My voice, asking for help. I stepped into the hallway knowing I shouldn't. The air felt recycled, like it had passed through too many lungs before reaching mine. The carpet was the same pattern repeating endlessly, stained in places that looked scrubbed too hard. Every door read, 27. Same scratches, same dents, same history trying to hide. The voice stopped calling. Silence rushed in to replace it, thick and pressurized. My ears rang as if the building itself was listening back. I walked. Each step felt delayed, like the floor decided whether to accept my weight. I passed doors that were slightly open. Inside them were fragments of lives paused mid-breath. Coffee still steaming, TVs playing news reports about disappearances I remembered covering. Phones ringing without anyone answering. In one room I saw Keller. He was seated at a desk, older than the last video, eyes sunken, hands trembling as he wrote. He didn't look up when I entered. "You shouldn't be here anymore," he said quietly. "You already finished your part." I asked him what that meant. He laughed once, short, broken. "You think the investigation was about finding them," he said. "It was about seeing how much you could lose before you stopped noticing." He finally looked at me. "You were the control." The lights flickered again, longer this time. When they came back, Keller was gone. The desk remained. On it lay a recorder, already playing. My voice filled the room, calm, confident. Explaining procedures, explaining containment, explaining why memory erosion was necessary for operatives exposed to room 27. I staggered back, heart hammering. The recording continued. "If you're hearing this," my voice said, "it means the copy is unstable. Initiate reset protocol. Burn the corridor." The hallway shook. Doors slammed open all at once. From inside them came movement, not running, not walking, but correcting, like mistakes being fixed. I ran. The exit appeared where it hadn't been before. Red exit sign flickering like a warning too late to matter. I burst through and collapsed onto cold asphalt, gasping. Behind me, the motel stood quiet, normal, empty, no hallway, no doors. Just a blinking vacancy sign. My phone buzzed. A new notification. Upload complete. I didn't remember uploading anything. The screen showed a video already going live on the channel. A thumbnail of the motel. A title I didn't write. Below it, comments were appearing fast. People saying they recognized the place. People saying they'd stayed there. People asking why the floor plan looked wrong. One comment sat pinned at the top. from an account with no profile picture. You forgot to check room 28. If you think you understand what just happened, subscribe now, because the next file was never meant to be recovered.